Hi guys, welcome back and happy Sunday. This is not the creative corner, but this is what we're going to knit today. Our camera quality today looks particularly awful. Not sure why it keeps looking really weird. We're going to pretend it's the vibe we're going for. And I'm going to be looking around for cameras and microphones. Yeah, my hair is this big today. It is super floopy. It is insane. I just conditioned it, and when I condition it with the correct stuff, it gets poofy because when it's straightened, it's actually going to be here, but it's natural curly. So I'm rocking the mane today, and this is gonna be a very short book review this Sunday, guys. So thank you for joining us today, and we're gonna get started. We're gonna be working on this infinity scarf, and it's almost done. I'm gonna probably finish it tonight off the video, but the book we are going to review is Death in the Clouds by Agatha Christie. I read this a long time ago. I read this from March and April. So what happened was I picked up this book to read with my mom on a road trip. And so we had it on an audiobook so we could read it because we both enjoy murder mysteries. And basically, we got like 20 pages away from the end, and then we got home and we put it on hold until we had a chance to finish it. And that wasn't until like halfway through April. But yeah, it's an Agatha Christie book. You can't really go wrong with Agatha Christie books, especially if you like murder mystery. This was not my favorite one, and if I was just winging it by my gut and choosing a starting based completely on my gut, this I would have given probably a 4 star because it wasn't her best one, but it also wasn't like her worst one, and it's still pretty good. But the whole point of this book was definitely entertainment. It takes place on an airplane. It's a kind of like um she has this habit in the Hercule Poirot series of having murders happen on forms of transportation. Like there's trains, there's boats, and now this is an airplane. All right, this old lady gets murdered on an airplane, and they're trying to figure out why. They don't know if it was a wasp sting or a poison dart or anything. This investigation was a little hard to follow on this one. Nothing really added up as well as it did in the other stories of hers, and it kind of almost felt to me, someone who's read a lot of Agatha Christie books, it felt like she went into this book not knowing the solution, where the other books she's written, it always felt like she knew what was happening. This one, it felt like she was discovering the solution along the way, which is totally fine. Okay, as you know, I'm an author and I don't plot my books. I go by the seat of my pants with them. And so I learn what's happening the first time as I write it. I have a basic idea, but I don't know the outcome. But I'm also not a murder mystery author, so I don't have to put like a lot of thought into every single little detail and how it's going to add up to point to one specific person. Props, props to those who do that. Props to those who do thrillers and murder mysteries and take the time to add all those details up. Like the people who write Scooby Doo, the outcomes and stuff, they make sense once they're explained, but sometimes it doesn't make sense while they're getting explained. And I enjoy reading murder mysteries and stuff, but I don't think I could ever write them. But this one just felt a little unplanned. I completely guessed wrong on who the murderer was, though, so there you go. Did not see who the murderer was coming. They weren't even on my suspect list. Piero is like an uncle to everyone. He kind of just pulls everyone in. It's like that with every book. He is safe. He finds the people who are in danger and he pulls them in. And here he takes a young woman in under his wing and he makes it his mission to basically give her a fresh start in life. I read this with my mom, as I said. The ending kind of dragged on a bit. I'm not gonna lie on this one. It took Perot like those last 20 pages I told you about. It took him like all those pages to explain the ending, like to explain who the person was, who our murderer is. And usually that's not the case. And like I felt myself getting bored, like the police officer did on that. But But um, it was good. It was just confusing at times. I think it was meant for entertainment. I recommend it to people who like murder mystery, but if you haven't read any Agatha Christie, I would not start with this book. This is not her best work, in my opinion. I am a little shocked with how this review turned out. Um, like I said, I read this with my mom, so I kind of took into account her opinions too when I was reviewing this. And so for writing, I put 5 stars because there was nothing wrong with the writing style. I enjoyed it, so I guess 5 stars. Setting was 5 stars. She explained everything really well, described everything. Readability was 4 because I got confused a few times, and the plot was 4 because it just didn't feel as planned out as her other ones. And honestly, if she was a different writer, this might have been a 5 star plot. But because of the fact that I went in having expectations for Agatha Christie, it was definitely a 4 star for me. And that's actually probably more of a 3.5 if I'm gonna be honest. But we round up in here or down depending on it. And then characters were 5. So when I added it all up and divided it by 6, we were sitting at a 4.8 star. So I had to round up to 5. So it's a 5 star book. I mean, my brain says that's not a 5 star book. My brain says this is definitely a 4 star. Uh, it was closer to average than exceptional, but the numbers didn't say that. So 5 star for Death in the Clouds. Least favorite book so far by her. Well, I don't know. It's probably tied with the big four for least favorite book of mine by Christie. I'm gonna be honest. The big four was it felt too James Bondy and less murder mystery. And so I wasn't really into it just because it was a completely different style of plot for her. But I'd say they probably both tie for my least favorite Agatha Christie book. It was 204 pages, fiction, obviously murder mystery genre. It was okay, so when I looked up the publication date on this one, it said 2010. We are aware that that is not accurate. Okay. With books like this, and you'll see it later on with the when we discuss 1984 by George Orwell when we get there. You'll see it there too. Books like this, when they become so popular and stuff, and the author dies, other publication houses can pick them up, especially if they become known as what's known as part of the canon. If they become that, then they're basically in the law of public domain, and they can be picked up and published by pretty much anyone as long as the wording isn't really changed. And you'll have abridged books and things like that. So the edition of this that I listened to was an audiobook that was published in 2010. But when I looked it up, it said it was originally published in the late 1900s. That's what it said, late 1900s. I have no specific date for this. Um, I could have dug deeper, but I'm going to be honest, I didn't. So, that is Death in the Clouds. Next week we will have a longer one. Next week I'm excited to talk to you about our book that I had been waiting almost forever for. Like it was on my wish list. I was on a wait list for Deep End by Ali Hazelwood since it was released, and it took me months to get it, but then I read it and I was so excited to read it. And so next week we're going to talk about Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. It is a longer book, so if you're planning on reading it before we chat about it, go pick it up. Go grab it. If you read Death in the Clouds, please let me know what you think because really, Christy, really disappointed in her with this book, and I'm disappointed about the fact that it got a 5 star review. I know that sounds mean, but like, I show you. You can't really see, but the math, it's over here, and it's in really light blue. This is on the other one. It's in really light blue, so it's hard to see. But the math said 5 stars, man. And I really think that this was a 4 star read. Maybe I should have been harder on the writing style because of the fact that I thought the plot was off. Or maybe, see, I can't tell if the issue here was a plot issue, like she didn't plot out what she was doing and didn't know the plot, or if it was a writing issue, like she just went so slow at certain times. And so I guess it's gonna stay with a 5 star, but I mean I don't think it deserves a 5 star, I'm going to be honest. So next is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. So pick that one up. It's 460 pages. And then after that is Heir to Thorn and Flame. It's the first book in a fantasy series. So if you want to read that one, make sure you read that too. And I will, of course, link both of those down below in the description. Before you go, guys, thank you all for being here. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It always helps out. And if you want to get entered into my blind date with a book giveaway for June, make sure you hop on over to my Facebook reader group, which is linked below too, and drop your book wish list on our featured book fairy post that is on the group. If you go to the featured section, click on the June book fairy post, drop your wish list in the comments. You don't have to gift to participate. You just drop your book wish list. And then at the end of the month, which is actually the beginning of July, I will go through and I will pick 2 people to win our blind date with the books. Our winners from May will be getting their books. I'm hoping to send them out next week is the plan, okay? So my plan for how these are going to work is once they're picked, then I will mail them out that next month by the end of the month. So I get a whole month to mail them out, okay? And part of that is because I don't currently have a full-time job, and so I gotta, bring in the income with royalties and Mary Kay and stuff in order to do that. But we have enough coming from an editing project, and so those will get in the mail, and they will get those. And then I'm gonna create a post that the winners can drop pics of their blind dates on in the reader group so that y'all can see what they get, because I have fun curating these, and I think you guys will too. And we'll have a poll later on this month on what you want July's blind date with the book to be. So go join our reader group and check that out. Also, June 28th in the reader group is the Summer Ween Book Bash. Your guys are going to love it. Authors get a half-hour time slot to showcase their work, to do giveaways, to have games, and it's all online, so you can pop in whenever you want. I require the authors to keep their posts open for at least 24 hours to accommodate all time zones across the globe so that y'all can participate. So make sure you join the group because we want you there. And you want to possibly win books, right? You can't go wrong with free books. So thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna go watch Brand Mondo on this Friday night that I'm filming. You won't see this till Sunday, but it is Friday night. And I'm gonna go watch Brand Mondo tear apart these horrible DIY bangs and finish knitting this infinity scarf. And then I might read a little bit of Ruvali's Boys of Summer while I color. Let me know in the comments what book you were currently reading, okay? And what was the last book that you finished, okay? Give me your last, your current, and your next book, guys. I would love to see it. Thank you all for being here. Bye, beautiful souls.